Our next guest is head of the Open Gaming Alliance, Wanda Meloni, who is amazing. Wanda, please come on out here and join me. This will be your chair right here, the Stormtrooper chair. I have the cushy pillow chair. So yeah, we are live on Twitch here at GamesBeat University.
Hello.
And so I think the first question that people will have, and I'm going to get it exactly right, is what is the Open Gaming Alliance, and what does it mean to developers and players out there who are watching you now?
Well, the Open Gaming Alliance is a trade association focused on supporting business and growth of the industry, making sure we have a healthy industry and healthy ecosystem. So we have a lot of corporate members that are on in support different special interest groups that we have. So we have Intel, Unity, Max Play, who was up here earlier speaking, Razer, Ubisoft. So they're all corporate members usually, and they together what we do is we work on initiatives that support, the developers in terms of how are they going to make money, how are they going to develop their product and monetize, how are we going to support VR and AR.
Okay. So the business of business. So I guess
business of business.
so it would sound like maybe like standards, for example, might come out of that. Is that one of the focuses?
Yes, and best practices for business, best practices for VR and AR.
Okay. So is it more, okay, so when you say best practices, just dig a little deeper, do you mean the best practices for working with people in the public, the best practices for software development, the best practices for, for buying VR, for buying computers, like the best practices of what kinds of things?
For developers. So
okay.
It is really focused on, it's a B2B type of a trade association, focused on making sure that the developers, the publishers, the platform vendors, we all have a healthy, thriving industry.
So do you do things like events? Is it like, do you like E3, or do you do more like white papers? Like, how does it manifest?
A bit of everything. So we are working on white papers around, looking at different APIs for VR,
okay,
and how that impacts the developer's decision on which platform to develop for. We do research on how big the markets are, what are the, how do standards in terms of technology influence what developers decide to do for their games. And then we do events. At GDC, we did an event.
That's Game Developers Conference,
yes,
for those of you at home, which is gdconf.org. GDConf. Google it. Go to gamasutra.com. If you're in games, you love games, you should go to Gamasutra every day. There'll be a link up top to the Game Developers Conference, which is a big event in March in San Francisco.
San Francisco,
okay,
yes. And so what we did there was we were told that, hey, I'm an indie. What I don't have is a place where I can go and meet companies to demo my game.
Gotcha.
So we set up a space and had it kind of just open forum. They just had to sign up, and they were able to come in and have an open space with coffee and
well, that's really nice. So like a sort of an exhibit, sort of business development space.
Yeah.
To meet publishers, to meet tech partners,
whatever.
The
just
alliance.
Have meetings instead of like, oh, I'm going to meet you here at a Starbucks, and then the next meeting's like over on the other side. So trying to find a way to support them in their event.
I want to know more. So because I imagine there's a lot of indie developers, right? And it's already super expensive to to plan to go to San Francisco,
right,
hotels, food, travel, all that things. But you want to be effective,
right?
And a lot of people, whether they be new developers or old developers, like, how do I effectively make meetings? So as an indie developer who's out there, how would they engage with you if they wanted to schedule meetings at the next GDC?
Right. So we have a program that's specifically for indies,
okay,
called the Indie Collective, and it's $250 annually. Okay. You sign up, and we put you in our sort of register, and then you have access to the meeting schedule, and it's free because our corporate members sponsor the event.
Okay, so members as indies, they pay $250. and then they're members of the Open Gaming Alliance all year round as indie collective.
As an indie collective,
Okay,
right.
and as an indie collective member, you, in addition to maybe meetings that could be
Meet-
set up at GDC,
right.
so what? Tell me more about then the rest of the year. Are you getting these white paper? Like, what's the rest like?
Yeah, you get the white papers. We're going to have more events where they can network with some of our corporate members, and the idea is to make sure that the indies are getting access to meetings and opportunities that just to make it easier. You
No,
know?
for sure. No,
Yeah.
it's super hard. Most people are busy
Yeah.
working on their game or working on their technology,
Right.
and that sort of outward-facing part there's a huge barrier.
Right.
Okay, that's awesome. So San Francisco's one location.
San
Where else are you
Francisco.
looking for there to be events? Because people are all around the world, right? They're on
Yes.
Twitch. They're like, we're not from San Fran. We're
Right,
from
I
wherever.
know.
Where else might they be able to participate?
Well, you know, we're still working on events,
Yeah.
so we're looking at some meetup opportunities. We're looking at some specific VR type conferences. You know, and sometimes we'll just be doing a panel where we'll have some of our corporate members. But you know, I think our plans for 2017
Yes.
are we have some really interesting stuff coming up.
That's also, you sort of started to segment, and that's of course true. Games aren't games. There's people who have a mobile interest,
Right.
or a specific genre interest, or a VR interest, which is very different than an AR interest.
Correct.
And even within VR, so many interests. Some people want to make a console game. All good. How does the, I guess, Open Gaming Alliance segment how people can engage with it?
I mean, we don't really, at this point, we don't really segment other than through our special interest groups.
Oh,
so if
which
you want
are?
to get,
I'm sorry.
yeah.
Which are? I'm sorry. What are the special interest groups?
So we have one that's focused on research,
Okay.
one that's VR and AR specific. We have esports.
Okay.
We have.
Ooh, slow down. Let's see. I'm sorry. You know what? It's a fireside, so we're gonna take deeper dives into things sometimes.
Okay.
Esports
Right.
is a whole wonderful area,
Correct.
separate from all these other areas which are more focused on game creation.
Correct. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So let's just pause. This is parentheses, bracketing.
Bracket.
Tell me about the esports vertical
Right.
inside of the Open Gaming Alliance.
Well, again, we've got a lot of corporate companies that want to be able to reach out to developers and
Okay.
consumers, and so I think we're still sort of in the early phases of that special interest group, but the idea is to bring together the companies that can work together. You know, these outside of the Open Gaming Alliance, they might be competitors.
Sure.
But inside, they're talking about how can we make a better experience for the industry.
I get it. It's like the spirit of the Olympics. There's like an
Yeah,
international
exactly.
Olympic committee that works together, decides what the events are, decides the rules, while the countries compete in the various events. I get it. I'm with you. It's very Rio 2016. Okay, wait. So I cut you off on the. Okay, so let's
Yeah,
do
no.
the subcommittees.
The
are-
subcommittees.
Yes. So esports,
Esports, VR,
research.
business.
Okay,
So anything.
what does that
around-
mean?
So I know it's like, how do indies and developers make money off of what they're doing?
Yes.
And how do they sort of once they have a game, how do they get the marketing? How do they get their name out there? And so working with the industry to help them and support them.
Well, obviously, indies are part of the industry. So
Yeah.
do they have a place at the table? Is this more of a service? Like, how does that relationship work? How do major companies, which have very specific needs, major manufacturers,
Right.
interface with individuals who have sort of their individual interests?
Yeah, I mean, we're still working on that.
Yeah.
So it's a great question. I mean, I think it really comes down to what do the indies need and
Yes.
how can we best support them. So
Sure.
it might be discounts on equipment that they need, discounts on software that they need,
Yeah, no, day-to-day actual value,
Act-
things that help indies
yeah.
eat food. And indies aren't indies, right?
Right.
Like, it's sort of a label, like a blanket label that describes so many people. I think,
Yes.
I mean, everyone's a little indie in a way, right? If they need any assistance
Exactly.
in order to be successful. Actually, maybe I should ask how you define, like, I have my own definition of indie,
Oh, that's really good.
which I'll throw at you for your consideration.
Yes.
I find that if you can make all the creative decisions about the product game experience that you're making inside the walls, then you are indie.
Oh, that's a really good.
And if you
definition.
can't make those choices because of a business relationship with X, Y, or Z, well then, yeah, you're just not
Not
indie
indie.
like anymore. Like that was.
That's a really good way to look at it, actually. Yeah. I mean, I would agree with you on that. So, yeah. I mean, I think for our indie collective and what we're trying to do there, I mean, we're still, we're still fairly new. I mean, I've only been at the job for, not even a year yet, and we're trying to just.
But you're the but you've not been at the job of making great things in games happen for a year.
Well,
maybe it's just what brought you to this. Like this is a mission. Like I can see this sort of
Yes.
making things better. Like at a high level is a mission. What
Is a
motivated
mission.
you?
Just because my background is sort of supporting creative and technology from a business perspective. How do we bring these things together so we can so consumers can actually get to it? If you're an academic, it's one thing. If you're a student,
And by the way, if you're an academic, it's okay.
it's okay.
Academic is awesome.
Love-
Sorry.
Yeah,
Fight
no,
on.
It's awesome.
Okay, back to you.
But
Sorry.
no, I agree with you. It's awesome. But how do you translate that into something that not only can reach customers and gamers, but has the wherewithal to sort of stay in it, because it takes, it takes going to the gym every day.
It's so true. You got to put in the work. That's so interesting because I think what you're speaking to is the idea that people are trying to build careers, not just jobs.
Right.
And that developers aren't just trying to make games, but they're making libraries of experiences of all kinds.
Right.
Over 40 to 50 years, not just one-off, how do I get to the finish line of this title?
Right.
Okay. So in your mind's eye is the narrative journey of the indie collective. What is sort of the ideal path for someone who's coming in new to the indie collective? Like, what do you want them to experience 1 year, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years down the road as a member?
Ultimately, we want them to be successful.
Okay.
And whether that is that they continue as an indie and grow their company,
Yeah.
or they evolve and learn the
Very
skills.
Pokemon Go.
And learn their skills that takes them to something beyond even that. So
I don't know. Okay, so I'll be super indie for a
go.
second. There's nothing beyond indie. Keep your freedom. Stay indie. But that's okay. I can see them evolving in different directions. Everyone takes different paths and does different things at different times.
at different times.
Huh. And they could still be inside of the
Yeah,
alliance
yeah.
because there's publishers,
Right.
there's manufacturers, there's technology companies. Are there technology creators like software? There's like
Yes.
our engine companies a part of this universe,
Oh
for
yes,
example.
yeah. Unity, Max Play.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Oh, right. And together.
yeah. Yeah, together.
That's, okay, wow, that is really a unique
Right.
alliance. Okay. So where do people sign up? That's a key question. People go like, where do I go? I guess they can just Google. But
Yeah,
what
it's
should they
just
do?
opengamingalliance.org.
Is it global or is it an American
It
thing?
is global. We have some announcements coming up in the fall.
What? Come on, give it to us.
can't-
World premiere. World premiere. It is the fall. The leaves have fallen.
Something that will take place in where the Olympics are going
In
on.
Rio.
Well, not Rio, but that
Brazil,
whole-
South America?
maybe, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so 2 armies will be collected wherever it's going on. It's 2 okay, okay, somewhere in there. Okay,
Right
there will be announcements. So it's the
Yeah.
stay tuned. Well,
Stay tuned.
congratulations or
Thank
pre on
you.
that. Well, that's exciting. Okay,
Exciting,
that was
yeah.
unexpected.
Yeah,
Not in our
yeah.
script. So global announcements. How can individuals participate? Not everyone is an
Right.
indie. Not everyone is a studio. Like,
Exactly.
is this an executive organization for executives, or is it for developers who have different crafts?
For a professional. So,
Okay.
I hate to use the word executive.
Executive in the sense of making the financial decisions of a business versus someone who is employed by a business for which
No.
someone else is making the executive decisions.
Right. No, I think it's just a professional. They
Okay.
can join too.
Okay.
If their company doesn't want to be a member, but they are really interested in being involved,
Okay.
we have an individual membership too.
So, okay, can. What do individuals do who are members, right? Because no, we talked a little bit about at a corporate level.
Yeah.
Corporations working together to create standards. I guess individuals, of course, could participate in that as well.
Exactly,
Though, like people who are technologically savvy or artistically savvy. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Huh. Interesting. And anywhere in the world, you can be a member.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's see. What else would you like to talk about? Tell me more. Tell us more.
I don't know. I want to hear a little bit about what you were doing too.
Oh,
I'm going to flip.
It's not about me.
Yes.
I mean, all day. But it's not about, this is not about me. No. Okay, let me think of another tough Open Gaming Alliance question. Who were the founding members of the sort? Who actually took the initiative and pulled out the checkbook and said, not that your leadership is not enough, but who stood beside you to say this needs to happen?
That's a really interesting question, actually, because the Open Gaming Alliance has been around for 10 years, but it didn't start as the Open Gaming Alliance. It started as the PC Gaming Alliance.
Okay.
So
I love we're getting very Pompeii here underneath. Okay, but so much more. Okay, gotcha. Okay.
So it was companies like AMD, NVIDIA, Activision, Epic, Ubisoft, Microsoft.
Oh, so huge company. Okay.
Yeah, so the companies that wanted to make sure that the PC was a viable games platform, because at the time, 10 years ago, everybody was saying the PC's dying and we don't have the PC games market, it's all console. And they're like,
no one believes that. We're all on Twitch.
I know, but that's, at the time, market research was saying, wait, nothing's happening at retail. And I'm like, well, we can tell you nothing's happening at retail. It's all internet. I'm like, that's where it's that. And so they formed this trade association to make sure that there was equal playing ground.
Got it. Tell me more about the VR and AR, which I assume are separate groups because their interests have already sort of diverged in how they're expressing themselves.
Yeah, exactly.
So tell people about that. Tell people about, let's ask about AR, Pokemon Go. We've all got it. Delightful. Niantic will be on later today on GamesBeat. Beyond Pokemon Go, tell us a little about the AR landscape and what's going on with the forum. Are there other members? Is it one big member saying we're dominating AR? What does that even look like?
I mean, I think, I'm really super interested in AR, actually. I think there's so much opportunity in the technology, and but it's harder to do. If you ask anybody, it's just harder to do AR because you have to like apply it to real world. So I think there's a lot of stuff going on in the backgrounds right now, and companies and developers are trying to figure out how to make it work.
Gotcha.
Right?
So it's still baking.
It's all baking, yeah.
It feels like maybe like, you remember way back in MMO days, like Ultima Online?
Yeah.
And that was, at least for me, the first big, or EverQuest, obviously, like big breakthrough games. But then now there's, they sort of came back around, like in the Warcraft era, and the Final Fantasy 14, that's what I play, era. Like, there's sort of been a rebirth, and obviously an infinite rebirth of multiplayer connectivity. Do you think the same thing could happen with AR? We're at the very nascent beginning, right?
Yeah.
And everyone's Pokemon going, but we're gonna at some point, reemerge with this next level.
Oh, it's gonna be huge. I think AR is gonna be crazy.
I think it's wonderful. I love the Pokemon Go. What about VR?
I mean,
broad topic as that is.
I know.
And we're gonna be talking a lot about VR all day. I hope you all love VR because we're starting VR. We're gonna be VR.
VR's, look, VR's super cool. I mean, I've been in like lots of meetings where all the different platform companies are talking about, standards and how do we develop for different types of VR experiences. And again, I think it's so new. And what I find fascinating is that, here in LA, is so different than San Francisco even.
For sure.
The
scenes.
The scene, like, this is so cinematic in what's happening down in LA, and San Francisco is all about just sort of interactive. I'm like, man, they're like two different worlds.
God, we're going to get to you're bringing us to our next talk. We're going to see the convergence of music and interactivity and storytelling. That's a great story. So, our 20 minutes has flown by. I don't know how this happened. We need like an hour.
I didn't even get to ask you any questions.
I know, but they'll ask. You can ask in the Twitch channel.
Well.
The camera is so low. It's so annoying. Hey, BBY Bing, I hear you. I see you. Oh my God, that person's speaking Russian. That's amazing. Anyway, so once again, let's give the contact info. Where do people find the Open Gaming Alliance? Where do they find you? How do they follow?
Right.
Snap,
They
Facebook.
just-
How do they engage?
OpenGamingAlliance.org.
Okay.
Or, and I think my email's on there. They can email me directly.
All right, this was Wanda Meloni. What's your email so people can email you?
WandaMeloni@gmail.com.
That's WandaMeloni.
MELONI.
Perfect. Hey, Wanda, thank you so much for joining us
Thank
at
you.
GamesBeat University.